The views and opinions expressed on this channel are solely those of the host and guest and are intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only. This channel does not promote bias, hatred, or discrimination of any kind. All questions posed and thoughts shared are part of a critical thinking exercise and are not meant to offend or judge any individual or group. We encourage respectful dialogue and love for all. Please remember to think critically and engage thoughtfully. We aim to foster a positive and inclusive community where everyone feels welcome. Thank you for being a part of Risky Behavior ENT.
Risky behavior. Risky behavior.
Yo, what is up? What is up? What is up? What is up? I am back. I am back. So excited. I got to get this story out. I saw it and I just jumped online, unprepared. I wrote up something real quick and I said, I got to get this story out here. Bringing awareness. Oh my God, people are so fucking sick. I could not even believe what I saw when I saw it. Texas mom sexually assaulting her own 5-year-old. And not only was she sexually assaulting her own 5-year-old, she was recording it for her sick ass boyfriend to partake in. Sounds unbelievable, don't it? I know it do. That's cool. Let me go ahead and get into these news clips and do this. I'm not gonna be here for too long, but I'll be here long enough to tell this damn story. Fix that. Boom. I'm good. What up, man? I got my brother T, man. What up, bro, man? How you doing? I see you staying. I was gonna tell you should come on Clubhouse today, but it would have been some bullshit, man. So I'm glad to see you here, man.
We begin with some tough news on this Christmas Day, though. New at 5, a couple is now arrested in a child sex assault investigation. Police over in Midlothian say this woman, 30-year-old Madison Jones, is now charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child. We've also learned she is also a substitute teacher with Midlothian ISD. During that investigation, police say a 37-year-old man she was dating was also charged with sexual performance by a child. His name is Zackery Dondlinger. We're told he is being held in Winkler County, and we're waiting to receive his booking photo.
That's okay. We got a booking photo. I don't even need to play that. Let me go here. Is this picture on this one? Where's this picture at? Which one is it? Oh, I got a video anyway. I ain't gonna worry about it. We got his picture. They had him blacked out, but they got his sick ass. So I want to welcome everybody back to Risky Behavior ENT, where I confront the cases most people are too afraid to even whisper about. Today, we're stepping into a nightmare that didn't come from a stranger in the shadows, but from two people a child should feel safe with. In Midlothian, Texas, a substitute teacher, someone entrusted with shaping young minds, is now accused of violating the most sacred boundary imaginable. Police say 30-year-old Madison Paige Jones didn't just fail her duty as an educator and a mother. She allegedly crossed into a level of betrayal that shakes the soul. And investigators say she didn't act alone. Her boyfriend, Zackery Dondlinger, which is a dumbass last name, is accused of directing and participating in the abuse. This isn't just a crime, this is a collapse of humanity. And today we're breaking down exactly how a trusted adult becomes a threat. Now, how digital evidence exposes the truth and what this case reveals about the predators hiding in plain sight. Let's go ahead and get into these articles real quick. Oh shit, I didn't even select this yet. Come on. I got too much stuff open. All right. All right, I'm ready. Uh-huh. What up? T say I'm good, bro. Getting through these courses, man. Oh man, that's what's up, man. My notes look insane. I spent the hour just cleaning them up so I can quickly get to what I need. Yeah, man. Stay focused, bro. Stay focused, man. Proud of you. All right. Former Midlothian ISD substitute teacher accused of child sex crimes. We can see she got them stupid ass eyelashes on her fucking face. Let's see. Did I zoom up too much? Oh well. Zoom back in, I guess. All right. Midlothian, Texas, a former substitute teacher for Midlothian ISD has been arrested and charged with felonies relating to child sex abuse. The school district confirmed that she's done work with them this year, but the charges don't appear to be related to their schools. What we know, Madison Paige Jones, age 30, is accused of possession of child pornography, indecency with a child, and aggravated sexual assault with the child. She was arrested in Midlothian on Friday. Midlothian ISD confirmed to Fox 4 in a statement that Jones had worked for their schools as a substitute teacher, but only worked 4 days in the past year. She worked at Heritage High School on November 19th, the district said, along with Heritage. Jones also subbed at Baxter Elementary, the district said. Regardless of her connection to the district, they say the alleged crimes do not appear to have happened at their schools or with their students. So that's a good thing. You know, no more victims. Unless something else pops up later on, of course. They assured families in a letter that their system of monitoring and vetting teachers is sound, and they were quickly informed of the crimes by Texas DPS. Jones is no longer employed with the district. Thank God. The second suspect, which is her boyfriend, Zackery Dondlinger, a 37-year-old from Happy, Texas. Okay. Was also arrested in connection to Jones' case. Midlothian PD said Dondlinger was accused Tuesday and was discovered Tuesday in Loving County in West Texas. He's been charged with sexual performance by a child. What we don't know, the nature of the suspect's alleged crimes had not been disclosed at the time of publishing. A mugshot for Dondlinger has not been released. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the video. I can't wait no longer. What up? Bree Nicole says, yuck. Exactly, man. Sick people. Sick ass people, man. People are people just insane. Just that's why we say, man, these kids are so unsafe. It don't make no damn sense, man.
I will warn you that the details of this story are disheartening. They're tragic. They're every negative word that you can think of. This case that we're following out of Texas, it involves a substitute teacher, her boyfriend, and a young child. And the court documents that we just got here at Law and Crime, they are beyond disturbing. Police say a now former substitute teacher, her name is 30-year-old Madison Paige Jones, confessed to sexually assaulting her own 5-year-old daughter. But I just want you to wait until you hear her alleged sick reasoning and how her boyfriend, a man named 37-year-old Zackery Dondlinger, factors into all of this, according to law enforcement. Now, you have likely seen the headlines on this story, but the actual police documents that we have and the details inside those documents, they go beyond what has been reported thus far. According to sworn affidavits, this was not a one-time event. Police say the abuse occurred, quote, on multiple occasions over the past several weeks. But here's the part that really grabbed our attention. The affidavit includes a Snapchat message from the boyfriend that police say proves exactly what he was doing with those videos. And the quote from him, it's chilling. We have it straight from the warrant. He writes, quote, he wished to sexually assault Madison's daughter while Madison watched. And that was not the only message, according to police. In a custodial interview, Madison allegedly showed them another Snapchat message from Zackery where he stated that he was pleasuring himself to an image of Madison and her daughter. And that is just one piece of this nightmare.
I gotta rewind that. I can't believe that. What mom sits there and discuss with her boyfriend him seriously with this is a 5-year-old they're talking about. A mom she's sexting her boyfriend about sex with a 5-year-old, her 5-year-old.
He writes, quote, he wished to sexually assault Madison's daughter while Madison watched. And that was not the only message, according to police. In a custodial interview, Madison allegedly showed them another Snapchat message from Zackery where he stated that he was pleasuring himself to an image of Madison and her daughter. And that is just one piece of this nightmare.
I'll tell you, look, these moms be serving their kids up on a silver platter to these perverts. I'm telling you, man. One thing about the news and the internet and getting your hands on this information, that whole notion of these women don't know these men who they are with, and then these stories come out and you find out that the moms are participating when it comes to these things. She's sexually assaulting her own 5-year-old daughter, recording it and sending it to him. Thank God they caught them when they did, because it seems like there was this, they were leading up to him being, you know what I'm saying, being involved. Now I haven't heard everything thus far, but I'm thanking God they stepped in when they did, because I'm pretty sure she was leading up to allowing this man to do something to her own child. Man. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Marcus Banks, in the building. What's up, my brother? How you doing? How you doing? Much respect back to you, brother. Glad to see you here.
And now both are behind bars. They're facing felonies, including aggravated sexual assault of a child and possession of child pornography. Now, here's what this case is really about based on the police narrative and the court records. We're going to go to December 17th, 2025 now. Midlothian, Texas. The police department there were called to a home on Ashbury Drive. There's a friend of the suspect, Madison Jones, who told officers that she was worried about Madison's boyfriend, Zackery Dondlinger, and she believed that he was making sexual advances on Madison's 5-year-old daughter. Now, officers spoke to Madison right then and there, and according to the affidavit, she confessed on the spot. And she told police that over the past several weeks, she had sexually assaulted her own daughter multiple times and filmed it because Zackery told her to. She even allegedly described taking explicit photos and videos that were then reportedly sent to Zackery on Snapchat. Police arrested Madison immediately. They seized her iPhone. Police also forensically interviewed the 5-year-old, and we'll have more on what she reportedly told them in a minute. On December 23rd, police tracked down Zackery Dondlinger, and she reportedly told them in a minute.
And notice how every time they get caught, they go to now they the victim. Now, mind you, her 5-year-old is the victim, but she only did it. She was being controlled. That's going to be her whole case, her whole story right there. She was also abused, and she only did this. She was being forced. Every damn time. Every time.
On December 23rd, police tracked down Zackery Dondlinger in Loving County, Texas, and they arrested him, and they took 2 iPhones as evidence. They say both of them were his. And now Zackery and Madison Jones are both in the Ellis County Jail. Madison Jones is charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child, indecency with a child, and possession of more than 500 child pornography images, and her bond is now set at $90,000. So
what the fuck? Let me rewind that. I cannot believe that a person possesses that much CSAM, child sexual abuse material. Also is sexually assaulting their own 5-year-old. How the fuck do a person like that get bond? How? And 90,000? That's insane to me. How?
Assault of a child, indecency with a child, and possession of more than 500 child pornography images, and her bond is now set at $90,000. So less than $100,000 for a case as disturbing as this one. Now, Zackery Dondlinger is charged with sexual performance by a child, which is a first-degree felony, and his bond was set at $250,000. No matter what someone does for a job, these type of allegations would be.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, Richard. No disrespect, but if you don't like it, you can move on. You can go look this stuff up on your own. Respectfully, I'm in here chilling with my people, chilling with my friends, and we talking about what we like to talk about. You don't like the way we talk about it? That's cool. It's cool. I won't take it no way if you leave. I won't. I promise you I won't. I promise you I won't. Shout out, man, my brother, the Prince of Petty is in the building, man. 90K is wild. That would have been a father. I'm telling you, she got away. They're soft on these women. They're soft on these mothers. And we shouldn't be surprised. We had a case with the remember Prince. We had the case with the woman that was on heroin, caused her child to die, and the judge just sent her home. So this case right here don't even involve murder. So of course, they don't even care when they kill a kid. So of course they don't care that they sexually assaulting the kid. Shout out to Universe. I'm telling you, man, this is crazy. Shout out, T says she mad chopped. But let me get this straight. Y'all didn't even live together yet. He was controlling you. Exactly. She's trying to paint the picture that she could be controlled by a guy that is not even in her presence. She's saying she sexually assaulted her 5-year-old because he told her to do it. Like, come on. How can somebody that don't come on? Let's see. Haystack says North Texas checking in, buddy. What up, Haystack? Glad to have you here. Shout out to you.
Incredibly shocking. These type of $1,000 is a first-degree felony, and his bond was set at $250,000.
Now look at that. How can his bond be higher than hers? She's committing the act and recording it. He's receiving it. He's not even the parent.
and his bond is high. She's $90K. His is $250. Neither one of them should get a bond. But that is how?
Set at $90,000. So less than $100,000 for a case as disturbing as this one. Now, Zackery Dondlinger is charged with sexual performance by a child, which is a first-degree felony, and his bond was set at $250,000. No matter what someone does for a job, these type of allegations would be incredibly shocking and disturbing. But Madison was a substitute teacher for the Midlothian Independent School District. So this was someone who was around kids, who professionally was around kids. The school district says that she's no longer employed. I want to dive into the affidavit now. And the warrant begins by establishing that on December 17th, officers were dispatched to a sexual assault report, and the friend expressed concerns about Zackery's behavior towards the 5-year-old. But the affidavit reveals what happened when police talked to Madison. The officer writes, quote, "She ultimately confessed to sexually assaulting her 5-year-old daughter and filming it to satisfy the sexual fantasies of Zackery," end quote. Now, the document details the allegations of abuse, and it states, quote, "Madison stated that on multiple occasions over the past several weeks, she performed an obscene sexual act on her daughter and allegedly did various other incredibly disturbing things to her daughter's body." Now, about those videos and photos that law enforcement say that they have, this resulted in her producing and sending approximately 4 videos and 2 pictures to Zackery via Snapchat, according to law enforcement. Then the forensic interview with the 5-year-old victim. According to the affidavit, quote, "The juvenile advised that when she was in the shower or bath, her mother was often using her phone to speak to Zackery. She also advised that she was forced to take nude photos with her mother, who was also nude." Now, here is the evidence that police say ties Zackery directly to what they're accusing Madison of, and to this scheme that apparently these two put together, according to law enforcement, this fantasy scheme, which is just, it's difficult to even say right now. I mean, it's just incredibly sick. And when detectives then searched Madison's phone, they found a Snapchat message from Zackery. And the affidavit reads, quote, "A message on her Snapchat was located where Zackery stated that he wished to sexually assault Madison's daughter while Madison watched." The affidavit states that this confirmed Madison's story, that Zackery was having sexual fantasies about this young child. And now both suspects remain in jail as this investigation continues. Joining us now is Chris Klotz, sexual abuse litigation attorney. Always great to have you on Law and Crime.
Yo, T, I was just thinking about Kelly. When you said that, man, I was just thinking about that conversation we were having that day on Clubhouse, and people ignoring these women predators, man. Damn.
Especially with stories. I mean, it's hard to know where to begin on this one. I mean, we've talked about some very difficult cases in the past, but this one just, it seems like it's hard to compare to anything. I mean, just for you, and you're in, a line of work where you see a lot of tough things. Like, what stood out to you?
So there's a couple things about this case, and Chris, thank you for having me. I'm always glad to be here. The couple of things that really stand out with me about this particular case are 2 things. Number one, that you have a mother who has somehow been, influenced to completely ignore her mothering skills and put her child in harm's way and abuse her child. So that's always a huge shocker for me when maternal instinct does not kick in for some reason to protect children, because this is a 5-year-old child, according to the allegations. The second thing is where you have a grown man who is interested in somebody who is just barely out of their infancy and only a little bit into.
I apologize. I gotta rewind what he said.
So there's a couple things about this case, and Chris, thank you for having me. I'm always glad to be here. The couple of things that really stand out with me about this particular case are 2 things. Number one, that you have a mother who has somehow been, influenced to completely.
Stop right there. Influence. So it ain't just that she's a sick ass person. See, if you the guy, you just a predator. If you a woman, you was influenced. That wasn't really you. Somebody possessed your body, used wizardry or something like that to get you to do it. Yeah. See how they try to make him a victim? They want him to be the victim. No accountability at all. None whatsoever. Straight up victim. Insane. I can't believe he said that shit.
Ignore her mothering skills and put her child in harm's way, and abuse her child. So that's always a huge shocker for me when maternal instinct does not kick in for some reason to protect children, because this is a 5-year-old child, according to the allegations. The second thing is where you have a grown man who is interested in somebody who is just barely out of their infancy and only a little bit into their toddlerhood. And so, those are the two big things that concern me about this case, is that a mom has actually participated in sexual abuse of her own child, to please or somehow satisfy, a boyfriend that she's got. This is just a really, really disturbing case, probably on the scale of offensiveness. These cases are all offensive, but it is way up there in the level of depravity.
According to the documents that we've read through, Madison Paige Jones, 30 years old, when a friend goes to police and then police start investigating, it appears she confessed relatively quickly, according to these court documents. But then she starts to say, well, I did it because of him. How does that, a defendant taking that approach in a case like this, where they are saying that they are guilty of doing the act, but it was someone else that told me to do it or forced me to do it, how does that impact the proceedings?
Yeah, so here's what that looks like to me. They did a search warrant. As a matter of fact, I've reviewed a couple of different search warrants in this particular case, and they seized some phones. Looks like they seized 2 phones from Zackery, the boyfriend, and at least one other phone from another source. And if they have phones with the evidence on it, there's not that much you can do to defend a case like this. Now, I'm quite sure that she probably immediately and appropriately either had an appointed lawyer come in. It's appropriate for a court to appoint an attorney if she couldn't afford one, or hired an attorney. And so defense attorneys, when they work these kind of cases up, from the defense standpoint, know that if the evidence is there strongly and there's almost nothing that you can do to defend yourself for the conduct, which in this instance, there's no defense to this, right? They're going to say, what can I do to minimize the consequences for my client? And so I would imagine that she's probably had an attorney counsel her to cooperate and to maybe provide evidence against her boyfriend in some types of hope of mitigating her participation and mitigating her role. And she said that she was forced for some reason, or if she was coerced for some reason, that is probably in some type of hope that a criminal sentence would be minimized.
For prosecutors, because of the cell phone evidence, which seems incredibly damning, she said that there were videos that were sent on Snapchat, and then there's some text messages as well. So it seems like prosecutors, whether or not they had her cooperation, would have a strong case. In situations like this, where you have a defendant who is saying, well, I'll help you get this person into jail, I'm going to be the first one to try and run and take a deal. But then if you're a prosecutor, do you really need her to build your case, especially if you have the cell phone and she's the one who, according to police, allegedly did it?
In this kind of case, the prosecutors probably don't need her if the evidence is on his phone or on her phone having been sent to him. And you'll notice that some of the charges, as I was looking through the list of charges that's been publicized, I believe that he was charged, or one of them was charged with having over 500 images of CSAM, which is child sex assault material, or sometimes called child porn. And so there were if there are in fact over 500 images, Are they of this one child? Are they of other children? Are they of other inappropriate, you know, images that have come off the internet, or is it other children that have been affected in this community or by this woman? As some of the newspaper articles note, that she is a substitute teacher and had taught 4 times over the last 12 months in the school district where she was. In the school district, from what I have seen in the press, is that she taught in the school, and the school district has actually sent letters out to the parents. And I'm suspecting that the letter is of the nature of, although I haven't seen it, I suspect the nature of the letter is, hey, we have a teacher, substitute teacher, who has had these charges. Have you heard anything, or do a check-in with your children, just to make sure that there's no issues? Because I'm going to imagine 500 images is a fairly high number of images, and I would be surprised if it's only images of this particular child. That's speculation on my part, just based on my experience of having, you know, done this kind of work for almost 30 years.
Well, and I want to talk about some of the civil proceedings that could play out in a bit. But when it comes also just on the criminal side, because I think of, like, you have 2 people who have been arrested, and one of them, this mom, is just accused of the unthinkable and apparently has confessed to it. And if you're a prosecutor, like, how do you go through? Because it's just impossible to compare, like, who's the worst defendant in this case. They're both awful, if all of this is true. Yes, she may have said she was coerced. Maybe it was a toxic relationship, like all of that. She's still the one who says that she did it. Like, if you're a prosecutor, like, what is the meeting like where you're putting kind of the pictures up on the board and you're saying, like, okay, this is the person we're really going to go hard for, this person. Like, how do you kind of manage how it goes through with these 2?
I think we already know who the freaking worst is. It's her. The dude received images. Now, what he did was bad, and they need to lock his ass up and throw him the fuck away too. But I'm pretty sure the person that actually committed the crime and recorded themselves committing the crime and sent proof of the crime to the person, I'm pretty sure they would be worse. That's just me and my thinking. Press says they're going to try to get her off. I won't be surprised if she beats it. They're going to say Buddy was the ringleader. They are. They absolutely are. Even though it's her recording herself doing these things, somehow they're going to make her the victim. Somehow.
Cases that these 2 people are accused of, because it's just like, I'm even like, feel like I'm like running on with my words, because it's just so hard to comprehend this story.
Yeah. I mean, in this kind of situation, yeah, I can't say that. I can't say who's the worst actor, to tell you the truth, because all it took for her was one call to the police department saying, my boyfriend is asking me to do this. They could set up a sting operation where he is, you know, where there's a controlled environment, and the police could have observed him.
Did he just say he don't know who the worst is? This woman was doing bath time on FaceTime with her boyfriend, saying, look at my 5-year-old daughter in the tub. This woman was on FaceTime or had a camera out taking pictures and videos where she would get naked with her daughter. She was advertising her daughter to this guy. I think she's I think she has the most accountability in this case. I just do. I think they both monsters and evil. I would think some whoop asses would be, you know, in order for these 2, but to sit here and say, he's just being dishonest, man. Seriously. Like, this is clear cut, but they struggle with that idea of making a woman a predator. That's how deep rooted it is. They struggle with that thought. Like, they can't even let the words come out their mouth.
Attempting to get her to sexually abuse her own child, and it would have been case over, right? But instead she goes along with it, and doesn't protect her child at all. I don't see a less culpable actor between the 2 of them in this case at all.
When you look on the civil side, and we've seen cases involving teachers or whoever it may be, and you could have, you know, if the victim was a student of the teacher, we'll see families file lawsuits against a school district and do investigations in places where that teacher was employed. In this case, where you have the person who is accused and facing charges to be the mom of the victim, how does that work out? Who represents a child as young as this when the person who was allegedly abusing them was their own parent?
Yeah, so I can talk about that in great detail. So I'm a partner at Alstock, Wick, and Crease and Overholtz. We have a whole sex abuse division in our firm that is dedicated to nothing but representing survivors of sexual abuse, whether they're children or adults. In this particular case, you have to look at who are the parties who may have responsibility for it. Obviously, the mom and boyfriend have some responsibility. Whether the school had any knowledge of what was happening would be something to take a look at. From what I have seen, it's going to take more evidence probably than what has been in the public domain right now. I mean, all there have been are some fairly initial press releases about this. So there's not really any involvement there's not really any public information about whether the school had any knowledge of what she was willing to do at the request of a third party. So that's something that should probably be taken a look at. And I'm suspecting that's why the school district sent that letter out to all the families where she taught. The other thing is that's really problematic. And my firm has suits in the social media world. We have suits involving Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and some video game platforms where the platforms, the social media or the video game platforms are allowing these types of images to go through with almost no regulation. And there's artificial intelligence that's available. For instance, if the allegation that these pictures were transmitted or these images or videos were transmitted by Miss Jones? Yeah, Miss Jones, by Snapchat. There is AI capability of differentiating inappropriate images for young people. Doesn't always work, and it will depend largely on how detailed the image is, or if there's a face, or depending on which areas of the body. But platforms that are facilitating transmittal of child sexual assault material, or sometimes known as child porn, is a huge problem. And we're getting to the point where social media platforms really need to toe the line on doing a better job about policing this. So another avenue that could be looked at is there any liability on the part of any of the social media platforms that may have been used to transmit these horrific images?
When it comes to Snapchat, because that is an app that's been, we've just seen it in cases that was the way that people communicate. And a lot of people, to be fair to Snapchat, use Snapchat because they like it and it's a fair way to communicate on social media and all of that, very popular app. But one of the appeals to Snapchat is the images disappear. So when it comes to prosecuting a case, or even on the civil side of things, when someone is specifically using that app, and it's an app that the feature is the messages disappear, like, does that factor in at all to showing intent of someone to cover up what they were doing?
So that ultimately is a question for a jury, right? A jury will have to decide, did this person choose to use this platform because the images disappear? Probably almost all high school and middle school kids use Snapchat. And so is the use of that particular platform by just a regular young person that is communicating with their peers, is that indicative that they're trying to hide their conduct? I'm not sure. But in a case where you're specifically using that platform to transmit inappropriate, illegal sexual images, is that something that the person who is participating in that conduct taking into factor? Perhaps. And so that would be kind of a question for a jury, I suppose, to decide what was the person's intent of using that. Because, for instance, if they had just texted those images back and forth to one another, there would be a record unless somebody deleted it. But knowing that it's going to disappear, could that be a factor in determining the element of intent? Perhaps.
When it comes to a case like this, and you have someone who is accused, and though this didn't happen in a school, she was a substitute teacher, she had time around young people, and if a school district is going to be sued, and I don't know what this school district knew, what their what their factors are when it comes to vetting people who are going to be substitutes in the school, but just in your work, Because I think when you think of, oh, they knew, it was this brazen, someone deleting emails, and that was the way that they tried to cover it up. But in the real world, typically, what are some of the ways that school districts can be found liable when it comes to knowing things that may not be what people would expect with how these lawsuits play out?
Sure. So most school districts now archive all their content, right? So if there's emails that are coming through the school server or a school email, most of that stuff is archived. So even if a teacher or an employee deletes something, there's usually an archive of what's happened. So that's something that we always take a look at when there's a school type case. So the fact that a teacher deletes something doesn't mean that it actually goes away off of the server. It may go away on their computer or on their phone, but hopefully nowadays most school systems are sophisticated enough to archive things so that there's a backup somewhere so they can have a paper trail. Those are things that we look at. We also look at when we're investigating these types of cases involving schools. We look at the vetting process for the teachers or the employees that are hired. How deep did they dig to try to find out whether the person had any type of background which would preclude them from being around children? Did they have any criminal history they overlooked? Did they have any prior terminations from other jobs that they overlooked? Did they have any negative reports from references that they may have provided on their resume? And so those are the kind of things that you at least start looking at. And again, I want to say, from everything that I've seen in the press releases that have happened so far and the warrants that I have reviewed in this case, there's no allegation and there's no suspicion that the school in this case did anything wrong. It's just something that needs to be taken a look at to make sure that nothing happened at the school.
Yeah, I see that the school district, according to some local news reports, they say that she has been fired as a substitute. So she wasn't a full-time teacher, wasn't a regular teacher, but she was a substitute. On that note, because we will see cases where people are put on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of an investigation. And then there's other school districts that just fire someone the second that they are arrested and charged in these types of cases. What is the difference? Like, why is it that some school districts will go that route of saying, well, we're going to let a jury decide to see if this person was guilty and they can be, on leave until then? Or like in this case, and I know that she's a substitute, that may factor into it, but they're saying like, no, she is fired. She's not going to come back here no matter what happens in this case moving forward.
What I have seen in prior cases, and I'm not saying one way is right or wrong, but what I'm saying is that in this particular case, there is a confession by the perpetrator. There is apparently video or documented hard evidence on phones. And so in that particular instance where there is zero question about what something, is and what happened, then termination immediately is probably very, very appropriate and should be done. I have seen instances in the past where there is a swearing match between perhaps a teacher and a student. And let's say, for instance, you have it, and this is why some cases, get harder to analyze. Say you have a teacher who's been a teacher for 25 years. They have a great history. They have been a model teacher and have never had any complaints before.
How could she even have a smirk on her face in her mugshot? I just started thinking about that. What the fuck's so funny right now?
Before, and then there's a student who maybe has some type of documented grievance with that teacher that they might be making an allegation against, but there's no evidence. What I think happens probably with the school district's decision-making tree is that if they have somebody who has otherwise got no prior indication, there's no physical evidence, and it's a swearing match between two people, sometimes you will see not an immediate termination, but put on an administrative leave while an investigation happens. The investigation happens either by the Department of Children, Family and Families in the state and by the law enforcement agency that's investigating it. And then they'll make a decision when they get to the end of their investigation. And that may be more fair to a teacher who has no red flags and no hard evidence. Those are tough cases, right? Because I have seen cases where you have teachers of the year who have been model teachers and who have been exemplary, and they end up being pedophiles. And so I'm not saying just because somebody has been an exemplary teacher or somebody has been, a teacher for a long time with no complaints, that they're exempt from being a pedophile. But I do think that school districts try to give the benefit of the doubt to people who have an otherwise clear background, and then hopefully make the right decision once the investigation is complete.
And we'll see what happens next. I mean, obviously, in this case, police say they have a confession. They have some very disturbing images, hundreds of them that they found on phones in this case as well. We'll see what happens next as far as the legal system is concerned. Chris Klotz, sexual abuse litigation attorney. It's always great to have.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Let me bring up the picture of both of them. Oh my gosh. All right, man. Prince says, man, I feel like dude taking this very light, but if the roles were reversed, dude would be called an alleged pedo and all. Yeah, I feel like he took it very light. And I think that his response and how he's taking it points to the system, right? They're trained to be that way. He cannot find it in himself to call this woman what she is. I mean, and he used the word like influenced. Like, no, she's a predator. You don't just meet some guy and like how would he even convince you to do that? That's just weird to me. Like, you don't just meet some guy and then start assaulting your 5-year-old daughter and recording it for him, doing FaceTime calls while she's in the tub. Like, how do those conversations even come up? Like, how what kind of icebreaker leads to that conversation? And then shout out to Prince, he was talking about how she looks in her mug shot. There's a smirk. I mean, he's just staring at the camera and just looks evil, like he's just trying to, stare down the camera or whatever. Prince says she's smirking because she's sick. She needs help. She's a sinister demon after doing that to her child. Yeah, she is. I agree. God has a lightning bolt with her name all over it. And I think she should have an ass with everyone's foot all over it. She need an ass kick. Prince says, why won't they say it? They found images on her phone. Hell, say they took her phone. Who else phone would they have taken? I don't know, Prince. I can't explain it. I can't wrap my brain around it. All the evidence is there. She's the person that did everything. And that's what I'm saying. Is like these people are able to look you in the face. They can look in the camera and just fucking lie. Like, it's insane to me. And it goes back like what we were talking about before online. We was on Clubhouse, and you are 100% right when you had this conversation when they were talking. We were just talking about all this stuff, and the people was trying to make it a race thing. Is black and it's white, and it was like, no, it's not. It's gendered. You can replace the color of that woman, the race, the culture. As long as it's another woman, you're gonna get the same results. But you could switch her gender and the results would be different. It would change. I'm telling you, it would change. Shout out to T. My brother T says someone is going to wipe that smile off her face in prison if she don't go to PC. I'm telling you, man, it's insane. Like, and even when you think about the charges, right, and you look at the actions and what each of them did, he was receiving and having these conversations with her about her 5-year-old daughter, but she was actually abusing the 5-year-old daughter, recording it. She's the mom. She's responsible for that child. She's sending pictures of her child. Her bond is $90,000. His bond is $250K. It don't get no clearer than that. I'm telling you. Yo, what up, Phonetic? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, man? Says prison justice, enough said. That's what she needs, man. That's what she needs. If she stay in prison long. That's if she stay in prison long. Oh man. Shout out to everybody that came through. I'm about to get out of here. I just wanted to hop on real quick. If I can, I will come back, but I do got some other videos that I do want to record. Shout out and appreciate everybody coming through. I'm gonna get my final thoughts and then I'm gonna get out of here because I'm about to go finish washing clothes. Oh man, when a case like this surfaces, it forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth, that the evil predator lurking in the darkness is not always this big, hairy, burly man. Sometimes it's a little woman, a substitute teacher, a mother, a parent, a partner, someone who, because of society, is able to blend into the background of everyday life and until her mask eventually slips. Now, while the justice system takes its sweet ass time, I think what we owe our focus to is the child, the only person in this story who had no choice, no power, and no voice. Our responsibility is to make sure cases like this aren't just headlines, they're warnings, they're lessons, they're a catalyst for change. Because at the end of the day, protecting children is not optional. It's the bare minimum of a functioning society. And if we can't get that right, then everything else just falls apart. That's all I have on this. I think this is a sad case. It just pisses me off reading something like this. Shout out my brother T, says for sure. Catch you later, bro. If you come back, I won't be on Clubhouse much anymore, but when I do, I'm gonna be rocking with y'all as usual, man. Thank you, brother. I probably won't be on there as much either. I go on there and I be chilling. Prince, be in the room with me, and certain other people I know, man. But I probably won't be on there too much either, bro. I'm about to hone in more and just focus more on the things that I care about. Shout out to Prince, man, for getting me into this stuff and reporting these crimes against children. But I think I'm gonna start just doing this, man. I just feel the need to bring more awareness, man, to these crimes and stuff. And on Clubhouse and other places, they don't be talking about important stuff like this. Everybody want to talk about, do the juicy gossip and stuff. People need to gossip about shit like this and be aware that this stuff is going on. Shout out Prince, said that's deep. Looking out for children are the bare minimum. Yes, I appreciate that, bro. Yep. At the end of the day, protecting children isn't optional. It's the bare minimum of a functioning society. And if we can't get that right, then everything else falls apart. Because it all starts with the children, man. Prince says for sure it needs to be spoken about. It do, brother, man. It do. 100%, bro. Clubhouse is fried, gets in the way, and it's dumb distraction. It is, bro. It's so crazy. I don't even be paying attention to it. I show up to support people, but to be honest with you, I'm on Clubhouse right now, sitting in the room. I be hearing them call my name and stuff. I just be there to support people in their room sometimes, like if I fuck with them, but I'm there, but I'm not there. It's just it's on another device, and I ain't even listening to them. Every now and then I hear somebody like yell my name. I don't even respond, man. I was just like, I got, because I'm, while I'm on there, I'm always doing something else. I'm reading, I'm looking up these cases, and I'm just like, hey, man, I ain't paying attention to them people. T said, plus the quality of life on the app low. Yeah, very low, man. Also, man, if anybody watching this on the playback, definitely check out my brother, the Prince of Petty. Make sure you go to his channel and support him. He's always reporting on crimes like this. I tend to be all over the place, but Prince is very much hyper focused, man. So if you really want to get those stories and things like this are very important, definitely go check out the Prince of Petty. I'll be sure after this that in the description I will be putting the link to his channel. All right. All right, brother Marcus. I don't know if you still in here. I'm gonna catch you later, brother. If I don't get back on, be looking out for the rest of the week because I am gonna pre-record some videos just to upload. Maybe like 10-minute long videos where I'm still touching on some of these crimes and stuff. So shout out to everybody. All my brothers came through. T, the Prince of Petty, Mr. Marcus Banks himself, and shout out Fanatic came through as well, man. I appreciate you all showing up and coming through. All right. All right, this is Risky Behavior, and I am out of here. Peace.
Risky behavior.